Over the many years that Change has been in operation, we have had the pleasure of certifying thousands of practitioners, from large organizations all the way through to independent consultants. And each course is unique, beautiful, presents its own challenges, and we love it. But we can't help but notice the same questions, the same challenges keep coming up. We can't help but notice these patterns. So we here at Change thought to ourselves, what are the things that make change practitioners successful? For example, what are the habits that they've adapted over the years to ensure their success almost each and every single time? Now I know it's not that simple, and you're probably right, it isn't, but it is a good start. So if you're new here, subscribe and leave us a like if you'd like to see more. My name is Nick, and we are Change. The first habit we'll take a look at is focus on the individual. Now, I know you've heard this all before, change starts with the individual, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about here is that we are all ultimately human, even the people impacted by the change. We all have good days and bad days, and usually when you do have a bad day, the easiest thing to take it out on is an inconvenient change. Think about it. You're on your way to work when suddenly your tire bursts, so you pull over to replace your tire, at which point you then discover, unbeknownst to you, that your tail light is also broken. Now you're headed into the office, late because you had to replace your tire, only to discover that your whole operating model, the whole system by which you work every day, is going to change. You are probably going to resist that change for no reason other than you're just having a really bad day. This always comes up when we talk about Clark. In the programs, if you ask a practitioner which of these 5 elements their people leaders struggle with the most often we get the answer, resistance management. So why is that the case? And the answer we get most often there is, well, we just didn't expect that much resistance. So resistance was not planned for. Now, good change practitioners understand that resistance to change is indeed the norm. Resistance to change happens to any change. But great change practitioners, they understand that resistance is actually a gift. Now, why do I say gift? Well, if you can measure it, you can manage it. You can do something about it. The worst case scenario is not a change that is failing because there's resistance. The worst case scenario is a change that is failing and there is no apparent resistance. This is probably one of the first things you'll deal with as a change practitioner, but I mention it here last because it's probably one of the more difficult things to get right. In the certification program, when we cover critical roles of change and the roles that people play in change, we inevitably discuss the sponsor. And when we do, hands pop up every single time asking the question, how? How do I get my sponsor, who's already busy sponsoring a whole slew of changes and has very limited time, to spend time on my project, sponsoring my project? The answer here is awareness. Now, I don't mean the awareness for the need to change. They're the sponsor. They know why the change is needed. Heck, they probably know better than anybody else why we're going through this change. The awareness I'm talking about here is the awareness of their role in change. From day one of your project, you need an active and visible sponsor. So how do change managers actually get this right? Well, they communicate exactly when and what are the natures of the engagements that these sponsors need to have. These are the small things the sponsors do that have rippling effects throughout the entire organization. We hope that you found this helpful, but we're always happy to learn. So I encourage you all, please, to share your habits as change practitioners in the comments section below. From myself, Nick, and all of us here at Change, happy changes.